Welcome, everybody, to How to Father. This is episode 8. Thank you, everyone, for all the wonderful feedback. We had a great episode last week with Mr. Alex Tenna talking about the importance of fathering and coaching and how that all coincides. I want to give a big shout out thanks to everyone who's been supporting the podcast so far. We have Shay 808, who does all the beats, the instrumentals, and the intros and the outros. We have Above Snakes, a men's boutique shop here in Albuquerque that just got a fall lineup. They just sent me the stuff for that. So if you're ready for some sweater weather, head on to Above Snakes. They even have a website, abovesnakes.com. I'm pretty certain is the site to look at their stuff there. Duke City Beaches is a local kind of neighborhood bar with volleyball and playgrounds and all kinds of fun stuff. A great family little spot there in the Northeast Heights. They're a big support as well. Of course, my real estate team, Navigation Realty Group. But enough of all that. I'm super stoked for today's episode. Very important to me, this whole topic. We're going to be talking about the importance of Black fatherhood and just how that plays a role, not just in our family lives, not just in our cultural family lives, but in the lives of just the world in general. So I couldn't think of a better guest who represents Black fatherhood, Black excellence than my buddy Cody. Cody Flenoury is here. So Cody, thank you for joining the podcast on How to Father. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, man. And thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. Right back at you. Everything you said about me applies to you as well. So
thank you, brother. Thank you. That means a lot. That means a ton. So tell us about yourself. Tell us where you're from, all this other fun stuff. And before we go on, it's I was listening to my last couple episodes, and I say all this other fun stuff a lot. So if you want to start a drinking game, if it's apple juice or whatever, every time I say all this fun stuff, take a drink. You might be drunk by the end of the episode, so don't do that, because I need to find another term besides all this other fun stuff than that. So my buddy Alan and I were joking about that. So if it's a drinking game, you want to get drunk, just drink every time I say that. Hopefully I kind of curbed that a little bit this episode. But back to you, Cody.
About that, though. About me, goodness. New Mexico, father, son, brother, uncle, coach. Father means the most, though. So,
yeah. So you grew up here in New Mexico?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sandia
High School District.
Yeah.
Yep.
A couple other places. High school, if you lived out here in high school, wasn't easy.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
Jeez, don't age us. Late 90s, man.
Late
90s, early 2000s.
Late 90s.
I had one of the kids said, "Sir, were you born in the late 1900s?" I was like, "You need to shut your damn mouth." Hold on a second.
That's why I told him I graduated in 2002, man. So I'm about to be 40 years young is how I'm looking at it.
As at 40's a new 25, man. That's how it is.
That's what they say.
That's how it is.
I see some of these people out here, and I'm like, I know how old you are because we went to school together.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to drink more water.
Yeah,
because
baby, drink some more water.
Drink some water.
Get some H2O in your life. Okay, so tell us about your growing up in Albuquerque, and more so your experience with your dad. I met your dad, wonderful man, and tell us more about that.
My dad. You met my dad when our relationship was on the way up.
Yeah.
So that's like the blessing in it. It wasn't always good. My dad was military, and I didn't realize until I was older kind of the things that he went through that shaped him.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that my dad was born in 1940 in Georgia. So when he was born, his life, not just his, for a majority of people, their lives looked a lot different than ours, than we ever had to worry about. Like, I realized that when I took my daughter to the Civil Rights Museum in Georgia just a couple years ago, and then she was talking to my auntie about it like a few hours later, and my aunt was like, I don't go there. And she said, because all those pictures just remind me of growing up. So it's like, gotta put that in perspective, that their childhood, regardless, wasn't the best. Yeah. And his parents, their childhood wasn't the best. And their grandparents, we can go down the line and it just leads to a place that we don't need to talk about.
Exactly.
Like, it's just, that's where we're from. So And with that being in military and then serving in Vietnam, like he was in war. So he was built different. So he expected different from his children. And we were very, very much like, we didn't have an opinion. I don't think I had an opinion until I was like 17, like probably, you know, like it was very much do what you're told, don't ask questions, you don't know what you're talking about. So, I mean, and I'm not complaining, just it's how it was. It was still, I was still a happy kid. So it was very, I don't know, it was different. And he was gone a lot. Like he was very much, like, you know, this, like he was out, like choir, bowling, reffing, umping, coaching. Like he did a lot. He had a job for the military that, after he retired, that required a lot of time. So, I mean, I understand that now as a 39-year-old man with children, but, you know, 15, 16, 17-year-old me didn't really understand that shit at all. So it was very, I don't know. This is different. I don't know. But not bad.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you know, we went to Lobo games. He was at all the sporting events, supported that, like wasn't absent by any means, but yet very, very busy. So give and take. So that kind of like, that was my, like, you know, you take certain things from your parents that are good and bad, and I want to be like them or not like them. It doesn't matter in the end because you end up being fucking like them. But I wanted to make sure that I was always like around, like, and that means working less, going out. Like, you know, it just means like, would I like to be at A, B, or C? Like, of course, like I would love to do that. But like, if my kids really can't go, I guess I just don't go. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, not like sacrifice. It's just one of the things that I remember as a kid being like, I want to go. Yeah. And you're too young, like, you know, the adults. And like, so it's just like, kind of was like, well, I want to make sure that my kids are like, they're my partners in crime. Like, they're with me, like, no matter what. So I do gotta say, my dad did take me to every boxing match as a kid. Like, I mean, I'd like to watch the fights on pay-per-view, no matter where we were at, no matter what was in the background. Like, I was allowed to watch that. Okay. Like, I don't know if good or bad, but I mean, every fight, like, jeez, I remember how mad he was at Pernell Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez, the outcome. Just they cheated him. Like, I remember that. I was like, okay, I have very good memories still as a child, so I don't want the intro to think like I don't have good memories with my father. But that's where, like, you think like a certain thing is gonna be like, oh, me and my dad love sports together. That was our bond. Yeah. My son could give two shits about sports, dog. And like, he likes the Dolphins, whatever. I feel some kind of way about that because I'm like, oh, the fuck, like, the Dolphins. But you know what I mean? Like, that's not I didn't take my bond with my father. The only, like, the main thing that we had. Yeah. I don't get to have that with my son, and I'm fine with that. Yeah. Like, I'm not complaining at all. That was where I just like, okay, we have this bond now. We have this situation, and I know it's going to change because he's only 8, so it's not like time is lost. Like, I'm sure, like, he plays soccer, you know, things like that. But I'm a sports addict. Like, that's my love. So
you and me both.
You know what I mean? So, but it's just like it's now. You know, I have a different love with him. I share his love, and I think that like, I remember my dad. Like, my dad never played video games with me. And that shit was stupid to him. Like, it was a waste of time. Me and my son get down. Like, My son plays ranked games on Mortal Kombat like he's good. So I'm like, okay, like this is what we have. Like we have this, we have art together, we have all these other things. And I think that's what, we always want to give our kids, like, we think we could give them like what we didn't have. And I just wanted to be what I needed as a kid. That's just all I'm trying to be as a dad, like
that's spot on, man.
Like there's no blueprint to this shit.
No.
Like
that's why I started this podcast, man. We don't know nothing.
And I just don't understand why the previous generation didn't say that shit. Like they could read all the books they want. Listen to Focus on the Family. Listen to this fucking crazy doctors on TV tell you some bullshit. But every kid is individual. Every situation is different. Yeah. Like you're learning. I'm learning as a dad. I'm learning this with them. So I think that's the biggest difference is I want to be that open parent. You know what I mean? Like, even when it sucks, because there's like times where I've heard some shit I didn't want to hear. But it's like, well, I never would have told my parents that.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I get to hear this. So am I going to react in a way that I never hear nothing like this again? Or am I going to be like what I needed?
Exactly. And you touched on a lot of good points there.
Sorry, that was a long
No, that was perfect. And this is a free-flowing conversation where there's no rhyme and reason to this at all. And I would say, going back to your initial point with your parents, with your dad growing up, my grandma grew up in the south of Texas. My mom grew up in the south of Texas, and she was down there, and family all throughout Georgia, all throughout the South. And so it was a different upbringing, and it was a different idea. Did my grandma dislike white people? No. She hated the fact that my mom married a Mexican guy. My uncles married white ladies. She didn't care for the interracial.
I get it.
You get that.
You have to be there. If you haven't been there, this conversation is going to sound so foreign to some people.
Exactly.
You just have to, like, it's just so different. It is.
And like today's day and age, you see so many beautiful little mixed kids running around. All kids are beautiful, but you see that kind of that olive kid. It was one of my clients called me Monday or Tuesday, said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's looking for." I gave him your number actually.
No, we talked to him.
Did you talk to? Yeah. And he was like, "We're looking for some like African American kids above 7, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A boy for a role." I said, "I'll tell you this.
Hella happy dog.
My boys are olive, and they look like they're Italian. Like they're not going to fit that role, man. They're not going to fit that role. That's going to be like, they're going to be like, who are these little Italian kids playing a black role? Like that's just because they're mixed race boys. I mean, I was a mixed race kid, and then now they're even more mixed race. They're all kind of muddled up. But with what you were saying about the structure, like my mom was in the military, and she was you know exactly. She was a coach. She was this, and she's the most loving person, the most tender person to everyone, and to us, and to a point.
Yeah, no,
but she had a different expectation,
different.
Right? Different standard to us, and so it was that whole like very strict, very like kind of drill sergeant-esque kind of like way to be things. And we'll talk more about that and the expectations of, and the reason why Black fatherhood is so important to Black babies, to kids in general, here in a few. But you touched, I think, on one of the most important things is your expectation of your kids isn't like, I want to have the same relationship with my dad. I just want to have an open relationship with them. Oh, and I want to, and like the words you said was, I want them to feel and have what I missed, what I needed. Mm-hmm. That to me right there is fatherhood 101.
Oh, I agree. And like, that doesn't mean like getting it's not even like the toys. It's not, not that stuff. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, is your kid, like, I just want them happy. You know what I mean? Life is hard enough for them. Life is hard enough for us.
It is.
But like, make sure that your home is happy. Make sure that they're happy in the home. Like, that's all that, you know what I mean?
So as a single Black dad, right, for the most part, when we're raising a boy, so I have 2 boys. Mm-hmm. and raising a daughter, which is totally different. Now she's a teenager. Now she has her own, I already see your face, her own mindset, her own everything. The expectations of raising a girl versus your daughter and your son, the expectations between the two, how are they different, or how are they similar?
I think that it's hard, man. It's hard raising because it's like I'm still a certain way with their mom, even though we're not together, because I'm his main example of how to treat a woman. So
spot on.
It doesn't. I think I don't understand why some people don't understand that it's like I have to, like, who else is going to get her a Mother's Day card? It's like I have to do these things for him because he has to learn what he is supposed to do. That is his mother. She deserves to be treated a certain way, regardless of what happens between us. Like, that's his mom. And I also need to show him how to treat a woman through how I treat his daughter. I mean, through his sister. Yeah. And I also, like, I want her to, like, not be like, she needs to know how a man is supposed to treat her. So, spot on. Like, he knows, like, you don't talk this way and you don't let nobody talk to you that way. Like, if having boys changes you, of course, but like, if as a man, if having a daughter doesn't change you, like, I don't understand it, because it changed me for sure. Yeah. Because, like, she sees everything. She sees how I treat women just in general because she's a woman. So of course you want your daughter to feel safe and understood and safe in your space. Exactly. So it's not hard. It's just like, it's a reality check. You know what I mean? Like, do I want her to be able to talk to me now that she's 16? Do I want her to be able to talk to me when she's 30? Like, you have to be able to think about that. I'm not going to, like, I'm parenting for now, and I'm also parenting for the future because I want her to be able to come to me in the future and hopefully just get advice. Not even listen to me, just advice. Like, that's just what I really try to give her at this point. It's just advice. Like, that's it. Like, and it's just, it's hard. Like, having a daughter is hard. But I mean, like, that's my baby girl. So I mean, you want her to be treated a certain way. So you got to make sure that you treat her a certain way. Well,
you touch, golly, man, like the first, whatever long, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, you touched on everything. Like, it's so relevant. There you go. And that's why I wanted you on. It's like, I'm getting chills, man. I'm getting chills about this. And because you touch on so many great points. The first main point is your relationship with your ex. Whatever happened between you two doesn't affect the kids. And whatever happened and how, like you said, how you treat her is, we could tell our kiddos, hey, do this, do that, be this, be that. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what are you doing? They're going to see what we do instead of what they're going to rather copy us, mirror us instead of hear us. 90% of the time. If
100% of the time they do what they see it. You can speak to them all you want, but they see what you do.
We grew up in the church. That's where we met. Church, Christian school, state champs, all the fun stuff, right? And yes, sir, Crusaders.
And I mean church. I mean, like, 2 times on Sunday, 1 time on Wednesday. Like, Wednesday nights, like church all day.
Church, spaghetti dinners on Wednesday nights.
Yeah. Remember when our pastor gave away free lobsters?
Steak and lobsters, man. That big old tent. Yeah. Big old tent, yeah. But that's the thing, right? Imagine if a pastor's up there like Jesus and this and that, and he's out doing the opposite. Exactly. And to the untrained eye, you can hear this wonderful, like, articulate preaching. But then if you see them doing something else, we're like, oh, well, I might as well do that. And I'm still, I guess, probably going to go to heaven if I do this. And so,
because we've seen some preachers do some pretty bad stuff.
Exactly.
Like, are we supposed to do that? Because I've seen you do some other things.
So. All right, whatever. This is what it is. But that's the thing. It's you have this idea of parenting, and a lot of times, and sadly, we're going to touch on the sad and harsh statistics of Black kids being raised by single parents. But the important thing,
Doc. It's horrible.
it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. I mean, I was raised by a single black mom, and the thing is, when it comes down to it, you said two amazing points. You want to show your son how to treat a woman,
Right.
and the most important, his
world
first
ain't
love.
gonna do that shit at this point, dog.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I mean,
They laugh at what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, everyone teaches to be a city boy, city girl, and they're funny memes, sure, but that's like these generations going up, and we have to combat that as much as possible. Like, oh, you're a city boy, you're this.
To treat your mom, okay?
Yeah. And then you have your daughter, and saying like, oh wow, this is how a woman should be treated. I tell so many people in so many situations, they're like, okay, I'm in either in an abusive relationship or was in one. So you're teaching your kids two things. You're teaching your kids, especially if it's a girl, and if it's a woman that's being on the abuse side, you're teaching them that it's okay to go through that.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want her to. Yeah, that's exactly. I just want her to know, like, there's someone out there that will treat you a special way because your dad does it, and I'm just a normal guy. I'm just, you know what I'm saying. I'm nothing special. You know what I mean? Like, you just put the work in. Like, if he really cares, he's gonna do it. And like, I pray that she sees that. That's all.
And I think she will. We a couple episodes ago, we had Dr. Najjar on there, the psychologist, and where she was talking about the relations with her and her father. Growing up, and she was a daddy's girl, right? And she was like, and her dad treated her such, made sure that she was protected and safe in all ways, made sure that he loved giving gifts to her mom and himself, or to herself and her brother and stuff. And so she didn't have like, oh my gosh, my dad just did whatever he wanted. In her mind, and same with your daughter, is going to have this mindset of, that's my standard.
Yeah. Oh, she's not going to be impressed by your weak ass trips in the future. Like, I'm just being real. She gets what she deserves, which is the world.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And she shouldn't settle for anything less.
And as a dad, you will sit there and like, I'm the foundation, but I still want you to be better.
Yeah.
And she's going to see that. She's going to see some squeaky little boy come over here like, hey, you look cute, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I know I look cute, that's fine, but no. If you're not to the standard of my dad, which is what you're teaching them, which you have been teaching her, and now you're teaching Lamar on the flip side of like, this is how you treat a woman, and this is how you protect a woman. This is because even though he's a little brother, eventually he's probably going to sprout taller than her, be bigger than her, whatever the case
Their
is.
mom is short, so like,
but you never know.
He's getting there.
Know.
He's tall.
Yeah, he's up there. He's up there.
Like he's protect. They're both very protective of each other because they've been instilled that family is all we got. They have that. They have a bond, and I love it. Like,
and then and that's one thing. And then the next point you touched on was, when she's 30, you want her to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely.
The most important, I think the best litmus test of being a good parent is wanting to hang out with your parents while you're an adult.
While you're an adult. Some people laugh at that shit. I've been one in the past. Are you still hanging with your parents? You know, but it's a good thing that they even want to, because I know people.
Oh, you're always with your mom. You're always with this. You're this.
I know people who don't speak to their parents.
No, it's sad, and I couldn't imagine me being older, like not talking to my kids.
I want that for my children or for me. Either of. I don't want to be old and eating Thanksgiving at Denny's by myself.
Exactly.
No disrespect, but that's not what I want. That's not what you have a family for.
I want to be, and we talked about this earlier, and it's I think good segue to insert it. I want to be there, like, who's going to be over there?
Right. Yeah.
Who's bringing the mac and cheese?
Exactly. Like,
you know what? Let's maybe she could. I tell my mom this. My mom, she listens to every episode, and she will attest to this, and my whole family. My mom can't cook.
Well,
my mom can't cook. She needs the Snoop Dogg cookbook that you were just telling me about. She can't cook to save her life. So every Thanksgiving, we're like, just bring the paper plates.
Bring some sodas.
She told me one time, she's like, I make a really good green bean, and it was like, I was like, oh, what? Boil water?
Casserole? Like just green beans, right?
Green beans. Like, no casserole. No, a little salt and boil water. Like, okay, mom, like, you can handle that. We got everything else. Gotcha. But with that being said, it really, you touched on so many great points of how to show an example of a man to your son.
Right. And then trust me, Bam, I was not the best at this. And then I saw the effects and I had to change. And it's like, So it's still learning. You know what I mean? It's still learning. It's just, you know what I mean? I just want my kids happy. You know what I mean? That's really what it, like some people, like they say it, but are you willing to do whatever it takes to get them there?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just that sacrifice. And it's not even a sacrifice. It's just, it's not, because it's like self-reward. Like, what do you, like, you see your kid happy and you're like, well, that was worth it.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's worth it.
Again, I'm just sitting here listening, guys, because you're knocking this out of the park, dude. Like, you said the most important thing. You changed. Dads, like, it's not too late to change.
Never too late to change.
I remember, like, I was like, when I first had Camden, I was like, oh shoot, like, oh my, I still do this.
It's because you didn't know what you were doing, dog. Like, no one wants to tell you, because people would look you dead in the face and be like, oh, do this, do that. Like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, you only know this is the one thing that you have to learn by doing. Yeah, because we dads don't get a quote unquote, we don't have any instinct. There's no maternal instinct. That we don't get that. We like, and that's meant respectfully. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, we learn. Like, I didn't, like, people kept asking me, they're like, well, when are you gonna freak out? When I was pregnant? Like, when are you gonna freak out? When are you gonna freak out? Like, all my friends, people with babies asking, when are you gonna freak out? Motherfuckers without kids asking me to freak out. I'm like, man, what do you, get out of my face? Yeah. I didn't freak out until, like, we were in women's hospital. Like, I'm talking after the water broke, I had a mental breakdown, like crying. Like, I remember my friend brought me Popeye's chicken and I couldn't even eat the shit because I was just like, I was freaking out. And it's like, okay, now here it is. Because it's like, how am I supposed to care for another life? Like, what, like, and like, daughters, it's protect. Sons, it's like, it scares you because you know, like, what parts of him, and you might, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, you know the parts of yourself that he might get. And then you're like, oh my God.
Like, oh, please God, no.
Please, Lord.
Please, Lord. Like,
I don't know if
I pray to everything that's good out there. I'm like,
my son's stubborn.
Can you be like your mom? Well, Ruby's stubborn, but I just know, we know how we were in high school. He argues just like me. Yeah. Like,
I'd love to be like, oh, he gets that from his mom. Nah. Argue, hard-headed. Yeah. Like, stubborn. I'm like, okay. Like, very, very independent. Mm-hmm. Man. Little me. Here we go. Yeah. Like, well, it's great when you're for the daughter, independence. Yes. Like, are you gonna take shit? Yes. Like, your son, you're like, man, ooh.
Yeah.
Hurts.
Well, it's funny and thank you for everyone who's been listening the last 7 episodes. We're on 8 now. You have touched on almost every episode thus far.
Okay.
Like, talking about generational, like, we have no clue. We talked about this with Dr. Najjar, and it was the changing the blueprint of fathering, because we don't have a blueprint.
There is none.
We don't. I joke around with the kids, like we were in mommy's belly for 9 months before we knew. I was like, you were in my nutsack
forever.
Yeah, forever. So don't even play that game. And
you won millions, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what you talking about right now?
I was like, you were the lucky one. You were the lucky one. But it's,
you were the persistent one.
Yeah, and we don't have a blueprint. We were
our blueprint's bad, dog.
Yeah,
it is. Go to work. Women stay at home and cook. Like, nah, like, I'm not for that. Yeah. Like, that. I'm not saying it. Like, you know how, like, our grandpas and, like, you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to work all
hard
day,
fix the things, and then be the authoritarian. Wait till your dad gets home. All this other stuff.
I can't.
Dads were never taught to be empathetic to our kids. Never taught to sit down and listen to our kids.
To play both sides. You can't run and talk. You got to be the good guy and the bad guy. Good cop, bad cop, tough cop, lenient cop. Like, it's just, there's a balance. It should have always been this way, but for some reason it wasn't.
It wasn't. And you remember how your father raised you,
right?
And then you realize, like you said, I'm taking cues of what I knew I needed as a kid, and I'm going to implement it as my fathering.
Right.
And so that's another main reason why I started this, because again, the tagline is the amateurness of being a dad. We're trying to figure things out. Yesterday, last night exactly, I was sitting in bed, kind of winding down. He's going to bed, and he has this emotion book, and it got like whatever juice got on it. And it's a book that they've had since they were little. And he goes through all the books, finds it, and he can't open it up. And I'm like, oh, let me help you. And like some of the pages got stuck together and got ripped up. So I'm like, open up every page. Oh, there you go. Thinking he just wanted to read the book. No, he came to me and opened up the page and held me the book, and it said sad. And I looked at him and said, are you sad? What's going on, buddy? What's the matter? He's like, yeah, I'm sad. I was like, do you want to talk about it? He's like, no, I just want to let you know I'm sad. I'm like, well, what can I do?
Yeah,
how
then
can
you're
I
like,
help?
that's not good enough, right?
Yeah.
As you in your head, you're like, no, well, I can't just hear that and not.
And not do that.
Ooh, swoop
and
in.
then we were raised and taught like, oh, well, then be happy. So I'm sitting there like, okay, on your time, you let me know. Yeah. So flip a switch, buddy. Yeah. The sun's up.
Now, that's
get out
called
there.
what we were taught to do is suppress shit.
Suppress it. I said,
suppress it.
But I was at the moment we talked it out. He told me why he was sad, why he felt sad. His brother said something he didn't like. So then we had a conversation with his brother. We all aired it out, and everything was fine. They hugged, played, and then 5 minutes later they're laughing, having a good time.
Right.
But I sat back and there was two important things of that. Was A, he knew he was safe and okay to come to talk to me.
Gotcha. That's
and
very
that
important.
right there, I was like, I'm just, and even he couldn't even express it. He dug through the bookshelf and found this sticky old book and opened it up, and said, Dad, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I look back at the blueprint of fathering. Typically, it's like, oh, go deal with, and a dad would tell their kids, go talk to your mom about that. Your mom will deal with that. And sure, moms have this tender, empathetic heart, and that moms are very important, but we can be that too, and we should be
I
that.
can't because mom's not here, so I can't say hold on to that shit till next week when you're here. It's only Tuesday. You go back with mom Sunday. Tell her about it then.
No.
Like, no.
But then that's the flip side is when your kids get older and something happens. I knew many a times where we partied in high school and I did not want my mom to even know I had a sip of anything. I was terrified. But if my kids, because I knew I was going to die. I was dead.
I'm not going to tell the story right now.
I know. We never had any parties in the pool at your house. Never. Hopefully your mom's not listening. But yeah, it's like we never had anything of that nature, right? But at the end of the day, I hope if my kiddos go out somewhere, and we talked about this on episode 4 with my buddy Skylar.
Can't call us if you really need us. There was times where I needed to. I wouldn't because you already knew the outcome. You were going to get in trouble.
You knew the outcome because there was that, like, you knew exactly where the boundary was. And so I hope, like, if my kiddo's out drinking, Dad, I can't drive. Call me. Yeah. And I'm not going to be mad. I will be upset if you drive intoxicated, but
I don't believe my parents wouldn't have really been mad.
Yeah.
But I want my kids to know I really will be there. You know?
But it's the different way of those raised. I knew my mom would have been like there to protect me and help me out. I knew I'd have been in trouble. And I was probably afraid of the consequences. But at the end of the day, I knew she would have been like, okay, whatever you need, I'm here for you, and that's okay. But I want my kids to be okay with when they're 10, 12, 14, 15, 30, 40, whatever it is, that they could come to me with anything and everything. And at that moment, when Max opened up that book, said, Dad, I'm sad, I could have been like, oh, it's okay. Things are going to be okay. Like, no, let me. And then again, I'm telling you, like, this podcast is probably helping me more than it's helping anyone else. Because my buddy Ted on episode 2 or 3, we talked about, okay, instead of saying, oh, well, let's get better. No, let's go back to where the root's at.
Why are you sad?
Let's figure this out. And he was like, well, did someone say something? And again, he's 6 and he's still trying to figure things. He's about to be 7, which I'm like,
that's
what?
teaching them how to process it, though. If you skip that part, it's not good.
And for boys, we're not taught that.
We're taught to suppress it.
Put dirt on it.
We become angry. And for me and you, we become the angry black man.
Yeah.
Not just the angry.
And that's a perfect switch.
That's horrible. But let me backtrack.
Go ahead.
I had a similar situation where Lahil Lamar was just being ornery. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, what's up? Like, are you trying to get in trouble? Because you're like, what, why? After it's just, a few minutes, and finally I just said, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, why are you acting like this? Instead of just going into like how we would have been like, yo, just instead of getting the belt, it was like, why?
Give me a switch.
Why are you? It was like, why are you about to get the belt instead of just get the belt?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just using the phrasing, people, but I just meant like, why are you acting like you're about to get in trouble? So I'm going to give you a chance to explain yourself.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he started crying and was just like, I'm having a bad day. Like A, B, and C happened. And then it's like, okay, let's get you better.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Okay, let's work through this.
Let's work through this. What you did isn't okay, but why you like now I get why you were acting that way. So like it's not excusable, but we got to get you a better way to deal with your emotions. But it's still like if I immediately I would have just got my ass whooped. So
yeah.
I wouldn't have been told why are you acting bad? Like, what the fuck was that? I never was asked that. It was just straight like you're, you know what I'm saying? Like get you straight to beat.
Yeah.
You know, so it was when I asked that question and he was then like he opened up and told me, and it had nothing to do with anything at home and had to do with some shit at school. But it was still like okay, like you were tiptoeing towards it. And now we avoided it and I understand. And now you can like talk about your emotions and we get to a better place. Like being able to communicate both ways. Like,
well, it shows there is a cause and effect to everything.
Oh,
right?
yeah, totally.
And how many times, even in our adult lives, where we get upset because something happened in work, and then someone cuts us off, and we're like, fuck you, where do you get out of my way? Like there's a cause and effect. And when kids, they are still figuring out how to process their emotions and figure things out. And so that's
know what
why
level to get. There's still levels to it. Bro.
Exactly.
Like, don't let this small thing bring
you to a certain point.
To a certain level. Some things deserve your attention more than others.
Exactly.
Right? And your emotions more than others. And just teaching them that. And learning that as a parent too. Like,
oh, there it goes.
Right. Learning that. Like, okay, I can't yes, I'm frustrated with the way is he acting, but why? Why? Like, let's just, or else it's just continue. So.
Well, and that's the, like Ted talked about that, and he said to the point where his kid, and he mentions in the podcast, was getting so upset, he started on the couch, he was kicking him. Kid was kicking him. If I even looked at my mom wrong, like rest in peace. Like there was a coffin already in the basement, ready for me because I just like that's just how it was.
We had to suppress that shit.
Yeah, and
your mom, and in fairness, not because my dad was very similar. So but that's almost like it's not every but that's like definitely military, man. Like because they couldn't blink, they couldn't do anything without permission. So like that's like they were broken into that
exactly.
So, like that's passed down. So it's just
and with what Ted said, he instead of getting upset like, "Are you kicking me? Hold on a second." He's like, "What's going on, buddy?" Like, and then they broke it down. They went in reverse, figured out the root of it, and said, "Okay, when you get here, let's talk." And when it comes to the idea of like my mom, we talked. When we talked about, I talked about this on my first like Meet Me episode. Mm-hmm. And I realized as a parent now, she had to be tougher on my brother and I versus the girls. She was tough with my sisters, like tough, but she had to be tough as a single black mom. Had to be tough because she knew that you had to. There's a certain way to raise a boy, and there needs to be a stern empathetic man touch to it, and she had to play that role. Right. And the sad thing about that we know in black families, and really it's not even just specific to black families. I was doing some research from 1960 to 2018. It's been tripled. 20% of black kids were raised by single parents. In 1960, it's over 70% right now. So 7 out of 10 black kids. If you go to a basketball game, NBA game, 7 of those players was raised by a single parent. And sadly, majority of them, probably maybe 85% of that, maybe even higher, was single moms.
Right.
And so the reason why this episode to me was so important is because I was raised by a single black mom. You're a single dad, black dad. And there's so many single kids out there. And it's yes for the kids, but this is mainly for the dads. And you said something very important. You made a change. If you are a black dad that is either deadbeat or still trying to figure things out, it's not too late to change.
It's never too late.
And I look at like my mom, one of the main reasons why she moved here from Maryland to New Mexico, because she was afraid that as we were getting older, as we were getting to middle school, high school, that our male influence would have been either the gangs or whatever the case is in the inner cities or outskirts of DC, outskirts of Baltimore. We were kind of smack in the middle. We had a great upbringing. My grandma was there, my uncles were there, everything was there. But she was afraid that like I don't know if I could raise these boys to be men.
Yeah.
They might find influences in the wrong way. And so that right there always made me realize, like, not just as a dad, but as a black dad, we already have enough hills to climb. We already have enough stigmas to climb. I was in Trader Joe's.
It shouldn't have to be this tough.
Shouldn't have to be. I mean, it's 2023. Yeah. I was in Trader Joe's. Camden was like 9 months. Yeah.
We're built different.
Yeah, exactly. Max was like 9-10 months. Or no, excuse me, Camden was. So my oldest. And I'm walking around, and you know, the first kid, you got like everything, man. You got like a tactical bag, you got bodyguards, you're like, hey,
second child gets
sanitize, like you're spraying everyone away 5 feet. Before the pandemic happened, you're like, no, hand sanitizer before you even look at my kid.
They say the second child's wild. It's on us as parents. The second child is like, go.
Just wild. You're just like,
go.
You're like going to hike, like, oh, we got a leaf and a stick, we'll be fine. The first kid, you got like, you're tacked out, right? Like you look like you're about to go to war.
Oh, overprotective.
We had the little like cushion seat for the basket. Mm-hmm. Man, that was so much work. You had to put the little cushion there. You had to attach a little toy to go grocery shopping. I'm sitting, so I had it in. He has little toys.
The car seats have changed. Too.
Oh, car seats! Oh my god, man! I screw car seats, man. So I remember doing all this, getting it all set up, and I'm like ready to go. Got my little dad backpack on, clipped in. All this fun stuff. I'm at Trader Joe's. This lady, older white lady, turns in the corner and is like, "Oh wow!" And I said, "Okay,
what?
Yeah,
wow,
like,
what?
Yeah,
I
like,
know
yeah.
you."
And then
wow,
of course,
what?
Your first instinct is like, "All right, bitch, try me. Like, let's get at it." And she says, "Is that your kid?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is my son." She's like, "Oh, that's surprising." I was like, "Why? Because he looks white and I'm not white?" Like, what? She's like, "Well, no, and she was like stumbling, and then everyone's hearing this, and I'm like waiting for her to say something, and she says, "It's just rare to see a dad take their kids shopping."
Yep.
And she could have ended at that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And then she says, "And you're black." Hit me with that. Yeah. And before I could say anything, everyone else, you racist, black, go shop at Walmart. Like, it was like this whole thing. And I sat there and I remember listening to that, and I kind of chuckled, but then I realized the stigma for black dads is so the level, like the expectation for black fathers, it's like not even existent.
Yeah, it's.
Go ahead. Well, and it's sad because
it is.
I love my kids. You love your kids, and there's so many amazing black fathers out there. And as a black male, and as a black female, as a daughter, as a son, we already again have so much hills to climb. Let alone that we have to deal with that in our own house. And black dads, black guys out there, like I have a lot of buddies who are black fathers who are stepping up as stepdads. Don't even have their own biological kids. My buddy Andrew from Auburn, Alabama, like we've only known each other for months.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with you, man. I'm gonna say this too. Like, I got a lot of homies that out there that like they do coaching and they do a lot of stuff for these kids in these sports, and they are these kids' father figures.
Yeah.
And you know, like we didn't have that growing up. I'm saying I'm just talking about the sports aspect. So you're not only helping them achieve their dreams, but you are filling a role that like means the world to these kids. Because I've seen the kids that I've coached that have fathers, and I've seen I've coached the kids that didn't. So there is a difference, and these kids look up to you. So I mean, like, I commend all those dudes that put in the work for the kids that like aren't their own, because those kids are gonna remember you forever. So.
Well, I mean, you look at even though Kenny's like our age, pretty much, he was our coach. He was a father figure.
Exactly.
We talked about it last episode with Alex. It was about the importance of coaching and fathering. And next season, I have a teacher coming on talking about the importance of being a male teacher to kids.
I had very few male teachers.
Yeah.
Very few.
And that's the thing. It's like as dads, as you're a dad, as I'm a dad, and if you're just a male out there, and I have a lot of, it's funny. I have most of my feedback from the show is just from guys that don't even have kids. we can be fatherly examples to everyone around us.
Yeah.
And you don't have to say I'm dad or I'm stepdad or I'm this. Just be that male example. And as you talked about, be empathetic, have a listening ear. Don't be quick to judge. Don't be quick to jump. Don't be quick to fix.
Right.
Go down to their level and help them out. And as Black kids, we didn't have that because, like you said, our parents, our grandparents, and as we go down the list,
don't want to go down.
You don't want to go down there.
Don't want to go down that list
because
it hurts when you go down that list.
It hurts.
Some people are like we know our roots as a family. That's why it hurts. But I just wanted to say one thing about what you said about that lady. Like that lady saying things to you. That makes, of course, it makes us feel a certain. But like the one thing that like is hard for me is we'll be out and it will be like, because I mean like me and the kids and their mom, we have a good relationship, so we can still go places as a family. And this is like post the split. Before we would be out, it even happens when we're in the family or it's just me and Lamar out. A lot of times there will be a older person, an older Black dude that will come up and he will say something, and all he's like, "It's good to see. It's good to see this. It's good to," and you know, it feels good, but it hurts too because the reason why they are saying that to you is because they didn't have that, and it happens too often and it's just got to stop. Like, you know, like it just. I never want my kid to ever look at another kid's situation and want for that. The course kids are gonna want, like, my son will go to someone's house, they have like a pool, like, I want a pool. Like, no, we're not getting a pool. But like, I don't want them to want for something that is not like an object. I don't want them to want for like shit, anything really. But you know, I get that. I don't want them to like. I don't want my kids to have generational curses. Like, I really, really don't. And I don't know where that ends and begins. And it took a while to figure out mine, but I just don't want them to have theirs. I want this start of my family tree to be a certain way. And I had to change to do that. Because otherwise, that's just another generational curse, another broken Black man. And I wasn't going to give them that shit, because then that next generation is broken too. My son would be broken. My daughter would be broken. And then the next and so forth. And if you're doing that shit right, you're supposed to be around to see your grandkids. So, like, that's why you want to break those curses. Because if you don't, you're not going to see that shit. You're not. You know what I mean? Like,
well, how many kids, Black kids, were raised by a grandparent?
Exactly.
Or by an aunt, or by whoever.
Fuck no, dog. I like the grandparents, cool. Like, you keep them whenever, like, but you're not gonna raise. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I like.
And the grandparents shouldn't, or they don't want to. They already did. They already did that.
They already did that. This is my turn. Like, I want to be able to look at my son and be proud, and my daughter, both of them, and be proud, and understand why they are the way they are, good and bad, when they're older. But understand that that was on me. Like, it's not on auntie, or like, that's me. Like, they're mine.
Well, it takes a village to raise kids, 100%. But you said something again, like, you're wrapping up everything in one episode, and I can't wait to hear back what everything's said. But you said that one of the most important things is generational curses. I've seen, like, brother, man, you doing such a good job. I hate the idea of, like, me doing dad stuff. Like, if I take my kids to the zoo.
Remember, like, what Chris Rock said?
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, that's what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to do.
You want a fucking cookie?
Yeah, like, exactly. And it's like,
you're supposed to do, dog.
If Ruby takes him to the zoo, takes a picture, oh, that's cute picture. If I take him to the zoo, man, people are like throwing out roses. Oh my god!
Yeah, we ain't doing nothing special.
And I hate that. Like, I'm like,
it hurts, right? Like, but it's like, I get why they say it
exactly.
But like, at the same time, you're like, well, okay, I'm just.
When I came with the idea of doing this podcast, and there's plenty of dad podcasts, but it was a whole thing of like, I don't want my experience of just being a dad to be like, because everyone's, you're such a good dad, but you're such a good dad, but you're such a good dad. I'm like, Actually, I don't feel like
I don't think I am.
I'm still trying to figure this shit out, man. Like
I tell people thank you
90% of the time.
I'll never say I'm a good dad.
No,
that's not my place to say. I want my kids to say that.
And that's why the last episode of the season is going to be me talking to my kids, asking them questions of like, hey, like,
epic.
Tell me how to be better.
Let's I was never asked how can I improve.
Exactly.
I was just told I was the fucking problem.
I'm the dad. You listen to me.
I was the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like shout out to the parents. So no parent is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing is like I wanted to curb the idea of being a dad is this like extraordinary like achievement. Like no, that's our normal stuff. And B, when you said, how do we break generational curses? You're saying it right now. We have to do it.
It's on us.
It's on us. And no matter what happens.
You know what the fuck is wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Exactly.
That you shouldn't. Like, you know. Like, I don't, like, I'll be real. Mine was alcohol, dog. Now, I'm almost 5 years sober. So I knew what I did not want to do anymore and see. And I saw this generation, that gen. I see it. So it's like, okay, am I going to make the sacrifice so my kids don't see this? Because then they're going to think it's normal. And I don't want that because it's not. It's like you have to make your changes and like and do what's necessary to. Because the last thing, like, I like, it's all fun and games, but you don't want to be the dad that ruins fucking Thanksgiving or Christmas. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have your kids be the ones that think that that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah. It's supposed to be like this.
Or like, oh, here comes
Here it comes again. Here we go.
It comes.
I was ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've all been around the family and it's like, okay, you know what's about to pop off.
Exactly.
You know whether it be alcohol, whether it be a comment, whether it be cooking, whether it be who they're bringing.
Yep.
Like, why is he there? Why is she there? There is something that it just sets, it ruins the evening. Stop that shit. Like, I had to. Like, I didn't want to be the reason that they were upset. And it's like, that was the general, like, the huddle. Or the hurdle, not huddle. So now it's like, well, the plan is for my son to never see me drink, but it's like my daughter now knows where she needs to go with it.
Exactly.
What can happen. The ugly, and it's on her choice to make it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like they always say when you have an alcoholic parent, if you have an alcoholic parent, there's two children. One's never going to drink and one's going to have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
I didn't want either of them to have a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like, so it's just maneuvering. And it's also just like you said, can you talk to me? There's so many instances where it was just like, I didn't even feel like heard. And like my child has a voice. Like I had a voice as a child, but that voice was, I was told to mute it.
You're suppressed. Yeah.
Just suppress that shit. So it's like, people will hear the way that me and the kids talk to each other and they're like, man, they talk back. I'm like, no, they're not talking back. To you, it may sound like they're talking back, but to me, they're communicating.
Exactly.
Like, are they upset and do they have like an attitude? Yes. So it's like, okay, well, check the attitude, check your tone, like don't yell. But at the same time, like you can say what you need to dad.
Exactly.
Like you can get it out. Like,
well, then that shows, again, I mean, you look at, like you said, a generational curse. We know our grandparents, and then we know their family story. And then we, like you said earlier, we don't talk about.
Right. They're going to inherit some shit that's beyond their control.
And slowly, we're headed to a direction of empathetic dads, on point dads. It showed that there was a study that in 1980, 3%, it was 3% of dads knew how to change diapers. Right now, it's like
shit. I was a pro. Dog.
Oh, I used to tell Ruby.
I was happy to.
I probably was a better diaper changer than she was. I'm gonna just throw that out there. She probably could. I was quick.
I wasn't good to start. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
I was not good to start. It was bad.
But I was quick with it.
I got good.
Butt was squeaky clean. Everything was good to go. But it shows a difference. And then it showed that my friend Raul, he just sent this to me about there was a percentage of dads who are hands-on. Millennial dads is what they call it. And it's funny because the idea of a millennial, everyone, your millennials are soft. They're this or that. They're whatever. participation trophies, all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, like, no, we are here for our kids. And it really brought it up. He just sent to me, oh golly, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And it talks about the percentage of dads who are more involved with their kids.
I don't even know what that means. What the fuck does involved mean?
Because you have,
know what I mean? But to me and you, that sounds funny, right?
Yeah.
Like,
millennial dads are tripling their time spent with their kids compared to their fathers.
Well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I want to spend. I'm not saying my father didn't want to, but it's like I enjoy spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
You know, like
because
it's
the
fun.
blueprint was this whole like work, get home, wife, mom deals with the kids. They take them here. They do this. They do that. And as a dad, that's why we're breaking these curses. And dads, if you feel like, well, that's who I am now, you can always change that. You said you're 5 years sober, right?
Almost, yeah.
Almost 5 years. So that's killer. That's beyond amazing. I mean, that's something you get your flowers for it, man.
Well,
like,
I mean, but
and I'm proud of you.
it's because there was a time when I wasn't the best dad. So it's like, you have to change it. Like, you know, like I had great examples of friends, people like you, because you like, and others who are dads that I saw that you want to be like, and they don't do anything special. You're just like, oh, okay, like, damn, like, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you have a good circle around you that can motivate you, like, you can do anything. And I'm very fortunate that every single one of the dads that I'm around is an amazing dad. So, like, it sets the tone.
Well,
like,
and the most important thing to take off from that is it's not too late to change.
No,
it's not too late to reverse those numbers of 70% of black kids are raised by a single parent. It's not too late to change. And if you are a dad out there who has no connection to their kids or no relationship, it's not too late to change.
Because I look at the way that my relationship with my kids was 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's way different.
It's different. Or you're always evolving. It's
going to be different a year from now than it is today. So that's why it's never too late, because like they're growing. We're like, that's why I said we're growing together in this, because, you know, like,
and we have to realize we're not raising kids, we're raising humans,
raising little people,
and they're going to become big people.
Little people.
They're going to eventually, if they want to, have little people of their own.
I want my people that I want them to have good memories too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got back from Disney World.
It looked like a blast.
Epcot, they're gonna remember that shit forever. They better. I hope they do.
It wasn't cheap.
Shit, I hope they do. I can't wait till they're old and their kids take them. I cannot wait for my kids to be older, and their kids want to take them to Disney World.
Yep.
And they see that fucking price tag. Yep. I can't wait for that.
Oh yeah.
I can't, because then they're gonna know.
They're gonna know. Oh, dad.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
dad could have done this instead of. Like this, they get you both ways. No Vaseline, man. It was worth it though. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
You know what I mean? And that's just like one. I'm not saying, I hope my kids remember the price tag, but it's just like I can't wait till they have kids of their own.
You want to grow up? Yeah.
Yeah. So they understand. like, oh, okay. I get it now. Now I get it.
Well, in the memories, I do things like I love photography, right? I love taking pictures.
Yeah, we love seeing them.
And I'm getting better and better.
You are.
It feels like, and I'm excited. But I'm surrounding myself around other photographers who are good, and then I'm bringing my kids along because they love doing it too.
Yeah, I like the picture of you taking the picture with them.
And then I got like my shot and then their shot, and I was remember they've been taking pictures on this camera, one of my old cameras. They've always been taking years, and I haven't even put it on my computer to look at it.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, let me check these photos out. I'm like, oh my God, these are good. These are pretty good.
But yeah, like, we should take these photos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take them.
Yeah, take pictures. And it's like, and I sat there, I'm like, I don't care if it's an expensive camera. Handle it. Do it. But I look at those memories and I'm like, this is it. I remember my mom used to do that. We used to go hiking in the woods and stuff like that. A little brown kid. I remember when I was here, remember my big old afro? I had this big nappy old afro. And I was
we all had one.
We all had an afro. We all were Kobe.
Didn't have
we were
an
all Kobe
afro
for a second. Kobe
from like 96 to 2001 at one point. You didn't love basketball.
Yeah, you didn't love
Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant. If you didn't have afro to get to cornrows, like I ain't trying to get nothing from you.
Then you weren't there.
You weren't.
Either afro, you had the island beads, remember those white beads?
The
Man.
seashells.
The seashells, man, those are nuts. But so I remember I was out at the Rio Grande Nature Center, and I'm sitting there with my big old afro, walking by, and there was a bird watching tour, and I was like, oh, I want to do it, like, because my mom used to do it all the time. So I went by myself, drove down there. It was like 7 a.m. Got up early. I'm sitting there walking, and these ladies like, are you lost? I'm like, no, I'm here for the bird watching tour. And they're like, looked at me, and you could tell there was like judgment, like, oh, and I'm like young, afro, whatever. So I'm walking around, and there was a woodpecker, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a whatever woodpecker. I was like, no, actually, that's a male downy woodpecker.
Put them in their place.
And they looked at me, and they're like, no, that's a, and I was like, no, that's a male downy woodpecker. And oh, there's a northern flicker right there too. And the guide was like, oh, he's right. And it was like, haha, I got you. But I remember that moment was like, I wouldn't know that because my mom taught me what the woodpecker was.
You remember.
I remember that. And that's the things that I want to instill in my kids. Like, oh, I remember going out and seeing this and doing that and going to Disney World. And then when they take their kids to Disney World, like, yeah, I want them to know how much these camera equipment costs because they don't know. They're like, I tell them a number. I'm like, oh, okay, who cares? Your dad. You have money grows out of everywhere. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Not even close. But
they think that.
But yeah. But then it's the flip side. Like, I'm still going to do everything I can to make sure they have everything they
need.
That they need. Not what they want. Everyone wants a pool. Like, Dad, we need to get a 3-story house so we can slide down the stairs. Like, no, that's not happening, buddy. Like, we're gonna be here for as long as we need to be here, type of thing. But with that being said, it's the memories we show and teach them helps break those generational curses that we had, and it doesn't even have to be like, okay, kids, we're gonna break this. We're gonna break the curse. Your grandpa used to be that. Or your grandma used to be this. Like, no, I'm just gonna instill and show you things.
Make your own way.
Make your own path.
Your own way.
Your own blueprint of how parenting should be, and that would go ahead and instill them not to be just better parents, but better people to society. And then when you see that when they are your age with their kids,
I'm gonna want them to have their own traditions.
And
do what we did with dad or mom. Like, start their own traditions.
That's your own thing.
What we're doing right now. We have our own tradition. We do our own thing. And that in itself is breaking a curse because we know that we're what we have. We're like, you know what I mean? Like, if that makes any sense, there's no, like, it begins and ends.
It does.
Like, here with us. Like, and so I think that that's always what I wanted. You know, like, you don't want to be that, like, what do I want on my deathbed? You know what I'm saying? Like, sucks to think about shit like that, but you have to. And it's like, I would much rather, like, you know, it's partly also why the reason my relationship with their kid's mom is the way that it is, because we're one day going to share grandkids. Great grandkids. Like,
you're attached for life.
Like, do you want that shit to be ugly forever, or do you want to make the best of the situation that's at hand? And it's like, that's why I want the best relationship with my kids now and for the future.
Exactly.
Like, and as quick as things are going now, it's like, it's for the future, because you can't now go so quick. Like, now is second grader and a junior. And that doesn't make sense when you say it like that, because like then that means next year is a senior, and then the year after that's gone. So it's like, you can't think like, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's shit sucks. Like, you're like I see some of my homies' friends, like my homies, like their kids are graduating. It's like, fuck, it's here. It's here. Like, it's here. Like, so then, like, next step is out into the world. So you want to make sure that they're prepared for this crazy world. And it's like, our parents weren't even around for the fucking internet. So, like, you know, like, this world, the world that we grew up in, does not exist today.
Exactly.
So that's why I say there is no fucking blueprint. No. Because my dad never had to worry about me getting online bullied. That doesn't even make sense.
Exactly.
This isn't like, I can't, like, not even bullying normal. So like I can't be like, there was nothing to say like, oh, this is A, B, and C. Like, don't do this. Don't put this out here. Don't, like, there was like, you know, like, they wouldn't have known what to do. Like, I don't even know what to do, and I grew up in this shit. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we have to, like, maneuver through this because, like, right now it might be Instagram, or I'm just using it as an example, but like who knows what the next thing is that will pop up that is like, oh, stay away, or like this or that. Like there is no, you know what I'm saying?
AI is changing
like
everything.
Exactly. Like I'm
not Allen Iverson, that was our AI.
Yeah, like it's just that's why you just do it. You just got to do the best that you can and
show up,
like,
listen, love,
be
there, be open. Don't feel like we're not dictators. We
right. That's what I don't want to. That's exactly like like bingo, dog. I don't want to feel like a dictator. Like I don't. Like
I want to be there. I want my kids to know that we're on the same side. We're going for the same goal. Like, and when it comes down to it, and I mean, there's so many. Golly, this episode has been, I think, spot on so many levels, and I can't wait to hear back and learn and add things to it. I still can't believe she's a junior in high school. That to me is like, what? I had a panic attack. Camden going to fourth grade. I'm like, wait, there's almanacs in here. Like, where's the Dr. Seuss book? Like, hold on a second.
I got to worry about buying a car that's not even for me. Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
then the car and she's driving. Oh god, dude, don't. Oh man.
Like, I got to worry then about like, you know what I'm saying? I was all excited to get her a car. I told her I was going to buy her a Mini Cooper.
Okay.
I would have, but she don't want it. So now I'm like, well, we'll go find a car.
Yeah.
You about to get a free car.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So I got a hand-me-down car. And that's all, like, I don't want to get a, like, oh.
Yeah, then you want something good and safe and reliable for you. I remember it was like, fine, so you can fix it, drive it, that's yours, type of thing when I got my first car.
I don't want that for them.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just being real.
Yeah, that's true. And that's how I am too. I'm like, man, like I want to make sure that they...
Right, but there was no... I did not know how I was going to feel about her being 16 when she was 12 and 13 or 10. Like, I didn't know. There was nothing that's going to say, hey, prepare you for this.
Guess what? Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I have, like, it's like, yeah, it's crazy because you have to learn and you have to be able to like let go. And that's that's been the hardest part, is just like letting go.
Yeah.
Like you want to like hold on, but you have to let go. And that for me has been the biggest struggle just as a father, because it's like you want to overprotect you know, you just you don't want the world to hurt them, but that shit's necessary for them to grow, and that's hard, is letting them make their own mistakes and learn and find their own path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to find a path. I don't even want to know what the path for my parents would have chose for me. I wouldn't have wanted that shit. Like, so I'm here because I found my own way, and I have to like set them up to succeed. Like that's all I want, you know.
And you had the wherewithal to understand things you needed to change, things you needed to improve on, to ensure that they had those tools to do so.
I mean, it's just, I guess there's just that feeling as a parent, and you know, it's just whether or not you pay attention to it.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it could just, it's the way you speak to them. Like like there's just like, my son's like, when he hears something, says that made me feel a certain way, then it's like, okay, I can't say that anymore then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not even saying something bad. It's just like how you say it. Like something, you know, and it's not like whatever, then like you then make that change because he sees you change. Then when you tell him it's time to change, like he's going to, because he saw you listen to him. He ain't gonna listen to you if he's like, well, why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to you? And I've been telling you not to say that for years, and you keep saying it to me. So why am I going to listen to you? Like at the end of the day, like they are still humans. They are little kids, but they still have the same feelings that you would have as an adult. Like, don't tell me shit if you ain't doing it. Don't tell me shit, because I have that attitude, so I know that they have it. So it's like that's why I just got to be a good example.
Well, again, like we talked about, they will follow our example instead of hear our example. We play music, right? We're jamming out. We're doing this. We're doing that. And when you hear them, like, oh, they know the lyrics. They rapping to that. Okay. I was telling you about this song that there was I forget the name of the song. It's like Science. They heard it on YouTube. I was showing that to you. And the beat, Mobb Deep had that beat. And when that song came on, and it was just like, then I hear Cannon go MOBB. I was like,
Okay. It's just like, yeah, those are the proud parent moments.
I did good. And they're sitting there like, hey, Dad, can we listen to Tribe? And I'm like, they didn't even say A Tribe Called Quest. They said Tribe. Know. And I'm like, oh, okay. Max and I did Can I Kick It for a karaoke night, and he killed it. He slayed it. But now he's singing SZA because he hears his mom singing it all. I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh. But it's funny, but it's, again, I could say, hey, you should listen to this.
Right.
Or don't listen to that, or don't, like, no, they're gonna hear what we hear and then follow suit. And so if I'm like, Camden, never listen to Mobb Deep, they say bad words. I'm like, well, you listen to Mobb Deep and you rap the bad words. Like, what's the difference, buddy? So, well, what you say, it's example. Like, as a dad, we have to be example. If you feel like you're not an example, even if you feel like you're not even there, you could change that.
Right.
I think when we could finish on this, the last one of the most important things is for Black fathers and Black moms and white fathers and white moms and whoever. If you two don't work out, that's okay. You still have kids to raise.
Oh, right.
You still have weddings to attend to, graduations to be. You still have the grandkids. You still have so much life together. Even so, if your relationship doesn't work out, don't be bitter. Don't be this. Don't be that with the other person, because you're showing an example.
That's what your kids see. They think that's what's normal. Then they're to be raised in chaos. It's not normal,
and it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't. Well, you're right. It shouldn't be normal for them. Like, sadly, it's normal for some people, but you shouldn't want that for your kids.
Yeah, chaos and toxicity and all this other stuff. That's not how our kids should be raised in an environment like that. So, Cody. Dude, this was I can't wait, my guy, to listen to this, listen back to it. Thank you so very much. I'm humbled to have your experience, listening to everything about that, having another strong Black father, just a strong father. We even throw the word Black out, but we know Black dads need to step up. The statistics show it.
People, I think that people are going to misconstrue when we mean by Black fathers. Yeah. Shout out to all the fathers. All the fathers.
Yep.
It's just we needed this episode.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, sir. And I hope that whoever needs to hear this, they hear it and just keep doing it, man. Keep going. It's really not that hard. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard. People make it out to be a lot harder than what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Just, again, love, listen, be there, be honest, be willing to change, get to their level.
Right.
As we want people to hear us, we got to hear them.
Exactly. Things are just, they are yours, so you know how they are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So we always finish every episode with some dad jokes. Do you got a dad joke?
I had one, but I don't remember. I had it and it was a good one. I can't remember it now, and that's the other thing's fault.
That's fatherhood.
What was Jay-Z before he married Beyonce?
I don't know what.
Her fiance. Right there, got it. Right. See there.
Oh, man. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
I saw that one online. Okay, I can't take credit for that. Dad jokes.
Okay. On IG. All right. Since football season's around the corner, go Ravens. I know you're an Eagles fan. Hopefully we see each other in February. The Ravens and the Eagles.
That would be stressful.
That would be stressful as all get out, man.
The world wouldn't be there. That would be I'm not watching this Super Bowl. There'd be some people who would be. They were already mad about Mahomes and Hurts. If we get Lamar Jackson and Hurts.
Oh man, that would be. What is on my TV? What is on this TV?
I didn't know the Super Bowl was on BET this year.
What do you got? Chitlins in the halftime. Who's gonna be the halftime performer?
Yeah. Who is performing this?
I don't know. I don't think so. Rihanna killed it though. Pregnant and everything.
We're not gonna get any good ones for a minute.
Yeah, it's gonna be I don't know.
If it's they got Garth Brooks queued up. Garth,
get Taylor on the line, please.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. We're gonna
Taylor.
It's gonna be back.
Billie Eilish is kind of on the fence. They like her too. Get her on the horn, please.
Yeah.
some Michael Bublé or something. But so speaking of
there you go.
football,
The Jonas Brothers in this year's Super Bowl.
Exactly.
It's not going to be a good halftime show.
Or Harry, yeah, I like Harry Styles, man. He got some vibe. He got some soul to him. Harry Styles, or James Blake. I like James Blake.
Like that. What's the
Travis Scott, man? Throw Travis Scott in there.
Nah, they're gonna do the voice dude. What's his name? That country dude.
Blake
Shelton. I bet you Blake Shelton's
yeah,
gonna do a Super Bowl. We're due for a country one.
So send us a message on IG or email on who you think is going to be in a halftime show to Super Bowl. The winner will get some swag or something like that if you get it. But here's my dad joke. Why didn't the dog want to play football? Because he was a boxer.
Oh.
Cheesy.
That's
man.
good.
It's cheesy. It's cheesy.
That's good though. I was like, I was trying to overthink it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing about
like
dad joke.
A wiener dog joke.
Well, yeah. My kiddo gave me a good one about the wiener dog. What happens when your dog has a fever? Put mustard on it.
These kids. Oh.
It's a hot dog.
Like
man.
these kids, they're good.
They're good. The art of the dad joke is you kind of have to use it as a story, but yeah. Well, Cody, thanks again for joining me, man. This was a pleasure, a blessing. We've known each other for, it's crazy to think, over 20 years now.
I know, that's scary.
That's a crazy thought, but
we're teenagers.
We're teenagers, man. We're teenagers hooping it up with.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
I was fucked up when I turned 30. I was an emotional wreck. And next month I turn 40 and I'm cool with it. I'm like kind of like happy about it, I guess. Like it's an accomplishment to make it this far and still like want more. You know what I mean? Like this isn't the end game. Like I can't wait to be like 60. You know, now I'm for a while. You know, well, let's hold up. But you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, man. I mean,
I want to grow old. You used to not think we would get here. Now that I'm here, it's like, oh, okay.
You look at life, man. You look back then, and you see things. I mean, we're sitting in your beautiful house that I was honored to help you find this. And maybe 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought where I would be at where I'm at. You probably wouldn't have thought the same thing either. And
not even a little bit. That's why I was sad at 30. You know what I mean? But it's like,
that's life is always an evolution, and it's always you always look upward. And so if you're in that point, if you feel sad, if you feel anything, reach out to any of us. You follow us on Instagram, you'll see us both tagged on there. And if you ever need anything, we got your back. Like whoever it is, whatever it is. So as dads, man, we got to support each other. We got to help each other out. And remember, it's not ever too late to change. So again, follow us on Instagram. We're How to Father Pod. If you want to send us an email, howtofatherpod@gmail.com. Cody, once again, man, thanks for joining us. This was episode 8. Thanks for everyone who's been a part of it. Number 8, grade 8, Lamar, Kobe. It's a great number. It's a great.
Kobe's still 8 to me.
Kobe's still 8, man.
I love 24, but
Kobe will always be 8, man. Kobe was a different player when he was matured when he was 24, but he was a monster when he was 8.
Killer when he was 8.
Man,
he was mean out there. He was mean at 24, but 8.
When he had that dunk, man, in Brooklyn over Chris Humphreys, that dunked on 3 dudes. I was like, that's Kobe 8 right there. That's 8, man. That's Adidas Kobe.
That's what I'm saying. Number 8 was the one who crossed up Scotty and threw that lob to Shaq. Like, just saying, he was nasty. He was nasty at 8.
Different guy. But Cody, happy almost birthday.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for showing. We got to have you back on.
Hey, we can do a part 2.
We'll do a part 2. Guys, thank you so very much for listening. How to Father Podcast, the amateurness of being a dad. Go out there, be a great dad, support each other. If you need anything from us, shoot us a message on Instagram. We got your back. Again, thanks, man.
All right, thank you for having me, brother.
See ya.